That was sounds from the ancestors, the incredible album that just came out, just was released. It's been out a while, by Kenny Garrett, is a mouthful of jazz. As I can say, there is so much going on in this music that you're hearing, that you just heard that one cut. There's a lot of story in this album. There's a lot of story in Kenny Garrett as a jazz musician, and what he's brought to this world called jazz is opening it up. And is he there? Hello?
I'm here.
Hey, man.
How you doing, Ken?
How are you, man? I'm so glad to talk to you. I don't think I've ever talked to you before.
Oh, yeah. I think this is the first time.
Okay. I'm so glad to have you come to Old Lyme, Connecticut. You're probably saying, let me look at the map, find out where is Old Lyme, Connecticut.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like you want to look at the map. But,
look at the map, but we're right between Boston and New York, as they say. It's so exciting to have you come and be at our festival this year, and I wanted to thank you and just congratulate you for the NEA Jazz Masters you won this year in National Endowment of the Arts, and just to say congratulations with that. And
thank you.
And one thing I really wanted to talk to you about was the city of Detroit. Regina Carter, I think, won that award also, who is from Detroit. And when I start running down people who have done huge things in the jazz world, Donald Byrd, Betty Carter, Regina Carter, Louis Hayes, Curtis Fuller, Kenny Burrell, yourself, talk to me about living in Detroit.
Well, everybody has to be for some places, Art Blakey would say, but I think for me, Detroit was, it had so much music, to offer. I mean, culture to offer, really.
Mm-hmm.
This growing up, a lot of times, when you grow up someplace, like I said, everybody's from someplace, you don't really think about it. It's just a place where you're coming from. But I think, like you mentioned, all the great musicians who come from there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of... it's just a lot of music there. I think it's a lot of music, and it's just the culture that pulls that out. There's Motown that's there.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of those guys who were in Motown who were jazz musicians just trying to make a living.
Yes.
But I think for me, it was the best situation because like people like Marcus Belgrave and Bill Wiggins, those were like my mentors. Bill Wiggins was my high school teacher.
Wow.
So I learned so much from him. It's about life.
Yeah.
He was actually my private teacher too, who taught me. Took lessons from Marcus Belgrave was another one who, fortunate for us, like people like Regina Carter and James Carter and Bob Hurst, all the young people came up after that. He was there for us, and I think it was fortunate because, I mean by that, he was getting a little tired. He was on the road with Ray Charles, and he decided to settle in Detroit.
Right.
And, he was like sort of my mentor. He, helped cultivate me, my concept of music that I do today.
Yeah. And I find that this continuation of connections between musicians and spirits, and with you playing, you play with Woody Shaw, Freddie Hubbard, Art Blakey, Miles Davis, 3 trumpet players, all different, right? I mean, when you played with each band, there was this continuing involvement of learning or adding of the jazz music that you were around, that affected you as a musician, correct?
Yeah, well, that was a blessing. It first started with Cootie Wims, who played with Duke Ellington. So I was fortunate enough he came out of retirement and came and played with us when we went traveled to, I think it was Australia, we were in Japan, and that was the first one. But I mean, the biggest lesson I learned with the Ellington band was really how to blend.
Yeah.
We have 18 musicians, so I learned how to blend. So I took that lesson, and I was fortunate enough to play with Miles Davis and Freddie Hubbard, Dizzy Gillespie, Woody Shaw, Donald Byrd. I mean, all the great trumpet players I've been fortunate, to play with them. So a lot of times I think about that when, I didn't, when I came out of high school, I wanted to go to Berklee College of Music, but that didn't work out for me.
Okay.
So it worked out, but it didn't work out. It worked out that I was able to get another kind of education from the Duke Ellington Orchestra.
I would say that's even more important. That's even, let me tell you, man, it was all in the big band, right? I mean, wow. That's under fire education Wow.
Well, it's a different kind of education. I mean, all the students who are studying the music of Woody Shaw, I play with Woody Shaw.
Right.
Studying Freddie Hubbard or Miles Davis, I play with these greats. And I think for me, I'm always thankful. It's always like a lot of gratification and gratitude just to actually think about the fact that I was playing with this musician on that high level. To hear Freddie Hubbard playing every night on a high level, there's nothing you can do but to hope to be able to just not embarrass yourself. So,
Correct.
I learned a lot from him.
It's amazing. And as you went on from there, you decided, okay, now I'm going to do an album. I mean, when that first album came out, you have these influences of, okay, who is Kenny Garrett? I mean, when does that pop into you where you go, okay, this is who I am? When do you feel like this is where I'm going?
Process.
Yeah,
it's a process, because even my first record introducing Kenny Garrett, that was a process. It was I was at a place that I was I've always written music,
right?
And I was when I played with Art Blakey, I was actually playing with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, OTB, Freddie Hubbard and Woody Shaw in my own band. It's like 5 different bands. That I was able to
wow.
So it was a lot of music, but I think it's a work in progress. I think like Sounds from the Ancestors is where I am now, but I started from my early roots were from a lot of the bebop songs and that standard compositions. I mean, then as I started to get more experiences playing with different people, like with Chick Corea, Chucho Valdez, or Marcus Miller, just different people, I started to to write that music. I'm influenced by music that I'm currently in. That's how I write.
Yes.
When I was with Chick and John McLaughlin, I wrote music for my CD on Mac Avenue. It was called Seeds from Underground.
Correct.
And we were dealing with a lot more odd meter type things.
Yes.
So I would it's just kind of the environment I'm in. But I think it's a work in progress. You're always trying to develop something. There's either the improvisation or the writing skills. I'm still working on it. It's a lifelong journey, and it changes and it's different. Sometimes as you get older, you understand the process of you can simplify things or you can make them more complicated.
Correct.
And for me, it was always important to make sure that it was a strong melody and people could recall the melody.
Right. And I noticed that one thing when I hear all your albums, as an emotion, I'm talking to you just as an emotion, as a human being, I'm happy. I'm happy after I hear music. I'm happy, Happy. It makes me smile, your music, because it's giving me a lot of hope and so many sounds of beauty. But I'm a drummer, but the rhythm, man, it's just coming out. And your rhythms are coming from around the world, and you're giving that with your sound. And I just think that this album to me is like, you take all those albums and you bring them up front and put them on this one. There's a lot going on in this, but you could see this building for this album because of the respect for our elders, for these people who have affected us, who we are today. And we sometimes forget these things. We don't listen enough out there, and those things are so important to pass forward. And you've done it on this album. I mean, it's like, one thing I feel the Motown, then the next thing I'm feeling something different. And then I can just feel all these years of yourself as a musician, bringing that, plus bringing the culture with you.
Well, it was always my goal to have the elders around.
Right.
I think about my first record introducing Kenny Garrett with Woody Shaw. I wanted to have the elders. I figured, well, if I have the elders on, they would have to tell me if it's right or wrong. If they don't, I'm going to keep moving.
Yes.
And I did African Exchange Student, where I had Brian Carter and Ellen Jones. It was the same thing. I'm getting an experience, but at the same time, I'm trying to see how I'm standing.
Yes.
And if they don't mention it, I'm going to keep moving. And then I had Joe Henderson playing on Black Hope,
yes,
which you know, he was one of my heroes, and I figured, well, I wanted to. I applied for a National Endowment of the Arts grant. I didn't get it, but I wanted to study with Joe Henderson.
Yes.
I figured, well, since I couldn't study with him, I just bring him on, and I get my lesson.
I love it. Yeah, man. Come on. We're not going to read your book. Join the band. I love it.
Yeah. So, you know, but it was, I mean, it's always been like that, you know, to have the elder. But I felt that was always important, because if I wanted to gauge where I was at a point in my life, I needed to have them to kind of either let me know, okay, is this okay? This is all right? You know, having Bobby Hutcherson, you know, that was great. You know, so it's it's always been about, you know, people always say, well, you know, this record sounds from the ancestors. You were making a tribute. I said, like, every record I'm thanking
exactly.
mentors.
You're
I'm thinking that, you know, so it's not new.
Right.
But I think this one came together with, you know, a little, you know, this collection of songs. You know, it wasn't just, you know, like the song you just played, Sounds from the Ancestors, has like Afro-Cuban influence, the church in there. It has classical influence. It has so many. You really have to listen to this CD, because I tell people, I listen from a distance.
Right.
And what I mean by distance, I'm listening, and then I realize, oh, I didn't hear that before, even though I was there. I didn't hear that before. And I think that's what, you know, records have always been about. Like when you go back and you say, oh, I didn't hear that before. I'm hearing something different now.
Yes.
And that's what I love about, you know, Sounds from the Ancestors. The little things there.
Oh, man.
You have to really be cognizant of.
Yeah. Cochran Holt, your bass player?
Right, Cochran Holt.
He's played my club, and when he brought in his band, he was absolutely stunning, phenomenal. And I was saying, he played some of your music, and you could feel there's a connection there. I mean, you're affecting a lot of younger musicians, as well as these ancestors from the past. You're bringing these new ones in, and so I just think. I think that's a whole different concept, you know, that you do affect people through your playing in the younger as well as the older.
Well, you know, that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, we have people who were there, who were mentoring me on the way. So you just give back, you know. We all give back differently, but I mean, I think, you know, to give back, I mean, I'm not in a university or anything like that, but I feel that I have my school. You know, people come through, like Art Blakey had a school, Miles Davis had a school. There's a Kenny Garrett School of Music.
That's
and musicians come through, and I share those jewels that were passed on to me. And even if they're not in the band, I meet people and I still pass on information. And through the music, they can still get the lessons. You can get the lessons from everywhere.
Yes.
The information from everywhere.
Wow. Well, listen, what can we expect? Who's for Saturday? Who's in the band? Could you just tell us who's going to be in that?
Well, I'm bringing Cochran Holt on bass.
Okay.
Keith Brown on piano.
Ooh, Keith.
I'm gonna bring Mark Whitfield Jr. playing drums.
Yeah.
Rudy Bird playing percussion. We work with Miles together and do Ellington Orchestra together, and I'm bringing Melva Santos. She's from Cuba.
Wow.
And she's going to do a lot of the Rubin stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's going to be.
You know, we'll play some music. We'll have some fun.
It's going to be revival people under this tent, man. We're going to feel your music. Kenny, I thank you for your time to talk to me, and I know you're a very busy man, but we're all going to meet on Saturday, and we're going for a ride together, man. And
that's right.
I'm so happy you're coming, and hope I get to see you many more times.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
You got it. Take care.
We'll see you on Saturday.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How great was that?
That's great.
Hey, we should probably roll in another one.
Yeah, let's roll in.